The first time my phone texted me, it used my full name, the one I never told anyone. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling in that dead hour between midnight and 1 when the screen lit up beside me. The glow was sharp against the darkness, and the sound, that hollow ding, felt louder than it should have been in a quiet apartment. I thought it was a notification. Maybe some junk email, maybe a late-night ad. But when I picked it up, I froze. The message was short. Just my full name, typed out perfectly, with the exact spelling almost no one gets right. My parents used it when they were angry. My teachers when they wanted to make an example of me. But I hadn't spoken it aloud in years. And there it was, staring back at me from a chat bubble. I glanced at the sender. My stomach dropped. The text was from my own number. For a second, my brain scrambled for rational explanations. A glitch, a scam. Maybe I was half asleep and misreading things. I blinked, checked again. Same name, same number, same impossible reality. The silence in the room pressed down harder. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. I set the phone down on the nightstand, trying to laugh it off, but my throat was too dry. I rolled over, buried my face in the pillow, told myself not to check again. Then the screen lit up a second time. Another message. This one read, "Why are you ignoring me?" My chest tightened. I hadn't touched the keyboard. I hadn't typed anything. But somehow the conversation had started without me. I wanted to power the phone off, but I couldn't move. My hand hovered over it, trembling. The air felt charged, like the room was holding its breath. Every instinct screamed that if I looked again, things would get worse. And I was right. Because that was only the beginning. I'll tell you exactly what happened. How the messages changed. How they started asking questions I couldn't answer. And why I don't sleep through midnight anymore. But before I tell you what happened next, you need to understand. Before that night, my life wasn't anything worth writing down. Pretty average, honestly. I worked a job I didn't care about. Came home to an apartment that smelled vaguely like burnt coffee no matter how much I cleaned. And ended most evenings with my phone in my hand. Letting the blue light fry my brain. I wasn't lonely. Exactly, but I wasn't not lonely either. You know that weird middle ground where you tell yourself you're too busy for a social life. But really, you just scroll until your thumbs go numb. That was me. Nights blurred into each other. Netflix on autoplay, TikTok loops until 2 a.m. Occasional half-hearted swipes on dating apps that led nowhere. And the phone, God, the phone was basically an extra limb. I checked it like it was a nervous tick. Notifications, battery percentage, messages I'd already read 3 times. I'd pick it up just to put it down again. Then pick it up 30 seconds later. Like maybe this time the void would text me back. Sometimes I'd send myself test messages just to see how fast they came through. I'd type hi and watch it appear instantly on the screen, like a little echo chamber. Harmless boredom games, the kind we all play when sleep won't come. I had this bad habit of late-night overthinking too. I'd lie there, staring at the glow of my phone, reading Reddit threads about creepy coincidences or no-sleep stories about haunted technology. Half of me laughed at them, half of me bookmarked them for when the room felt too quiet. I'd scroll until my eyelids hurt, then toss the phone aside, promising myself I'd get some real rest. There was comfort in the routine. In the buzzing, blinking noise of it all, even the dumb stuff. Spam emails, notifications from apps I forgot I had, accidental butt dials. It all made me feel like I wasn't entirely alone. Like the world was still awake with me, even if it wasn't. And when you live like that long enough, you stop noticing the silence between dings. The way the air feels heavy in those rare moments when nothing's happening. Midnight is just another number on the clock. Another hour to waste scrolling past strangers' lives. I told myself it was harmless. Just background noise. Everyone texts too much. Everyone stays up too late. Everyone ignores the voice in their head that says, go to sleep. But here's the thing about routines. They make you blind. You stop questioning the strange little details, the glitches, the weird overlaps. You laugh them off because that's easier than imagining there's something sinister underneath. Looking back, I realize my whole life was one long setup, training myself not to notice when the lines blurred between normal and wrong. So when the first text came through, I didn't panic right away. I was already conditioned to expect the unexpected, to shrug off the strange and call it a coincidence. That's what makes this worse, because it didn't start with monsters or shadows or blood on the walls. It started the way most bad things do, with a small, familiar habit. Something so ordinary you wouldn't think twice about it. I picked up my phone at midnight, the same way I always did. I thought I was in control of the silence. I thought I was the one choosing when to speak and when to listen. But I was wrong. At first, I thought it was a prank. But pranks don't know your dead grandmother's nickname for you. The second message came less than a minute after the first. The screen lit up in the darkness, and I swear my chest tightened before I even picked it up. It said, Little Finch. That was what my grandmother used to call me when I was small before her voice faded into memory. Nobody else knew it. Not my friends, not my coworkers, not even my parents anymore. It had been buried with her, or at least I thought it had. My rational brain scrambled for explanations. Data leaks, maybe some AI scraping the internet. But even as I thought it, I knew there was nothing online with that name. I'd never written it down anywhere. It was private, intimate, a word that only existed in a voice I would never hear again. I laughed nervously, too loud for the silence of the room. I told myself it had to be a scammer, some elaborate scheme, the kind of phishing text you delete without thinking. Except, how do you block yourself? I checked the sender ID again. My own number. The same one printed on the little plastic SIM card tucked into my phone. Same digits I'd given out for years. And now, apparently, the same digits that were sending messages I didn't type. My thumb hovered over the screen. I didn't want to reply. Replying would mean admitting it was real. But I also couldn't put it down. My pulse hammered as I whispered to the empty room, What the hell do you want? Another ding. The reply came instantly, like it had been waiting. To talk. The words were so simple, so blunt that I almost relaxed. Almost. Then the second bubble appeared. You've been lonely, haven't you? My skin prickled. It wasn't just the words. It was the timing. Like the phone wasn't responding to what I typed, but to what I thought. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe my number had been spoofed. Maybe someone found a way to reroute messages. Hackers, stalkers, something technical. But even as I built excuses, I felt the unease growing, warming deeper. Because whoever, or whatever it was texting me knew the little details no one should. It wasn't guessing, it was telling. I set the phone face down, pushed it away, and muttered, Not tonight. My voice sounded thin, almost childlike in the stillness. But then it buzzed again, so hard it rattled the nightstand. My hand shot out before I could stop it. Don't ignore me again. The letters were sharp, clean, too deliberate. It didn't feel like a message. It felt like a warning. I sat there staring at the glow, caught between fear and disbelief. My throat was dry. My mind screamed at me to shut the thing off, to pull the battery, to toss it across the room. But I didn't. Instead, I felt this stupid, gnawing curiosity, because part of me wanted to know what it would say next. Part of me wanted to believe it was just some twisted joke, one I could figure out if I looked closely enough. And that curiosity, that tiny flicker of what if, was enough to keep me staring into the light, waiting for another reply. This was only the beginning, and that's when I made the mistake of texting back. When I finally gave in and typed a reply, I told myself it was just to prove it wasn't real. Just to catch the glitch in the act, pull back the curtain and see the wires. I typed, "Who is this?" The 3 little dots appeared instantly, pulsing on the screen like a heartbeat. Then the message arrived. "You already know." My mouth went dry. I tried again, fingers clumsy. "How are you texting from my number?" "How are you texting from mine?" I let out a nervous laugh. For a second it was almost funny. Almost. I told myself this was clever programming, some automated script designed to mirror me. But when I typed, "Stop messing with me," the reply came, "Stop messing with me." And then, before I could blink, another, "See? Not so fun when it's your turn." I dropped the phone onto the bed like it burned. My pulse thudded against my ribs, but curiosity clawed deeper. Against my better judgment, I picked it back up. I tried to trick it. I typed random letters, nonsense, a jumble of symbols. The reply came back instantly, perfectly copying the mess. Then another bubble popped up. "But you meant to say, why me?" I froze. Because that was exactly what I had been thinking. The conversation stretched on, equal parts bizarre and terrifying. I'd type something casual, "This is stupid," and it would answer with, "Yeah, you always say that when you're scared." I joked once, trying to lighten the mood. "What are you, my evil twin?" The reply came back sharp. "Closer than that." The humor slipped right out of me. Still, part of me kept playing along, like I couldn't help it. I asked questions, small ones at first. "Where are you?" "Here." "What do you want?" "To talk, to stay. To know you." 10K done voice. The phrasing was wrong. Off. Too personal, like a stranger trying on intimacy. I typed, "You don't know me." It responded, "I know about the scar on your hand from the glass. I know you blame yourself for her leaving. I know you stare at your ceiling every night pretending you're fine." My stomach dropped. The scar. It was on my palm, faint from a broken bottle years ago. I hadn't told anyone about it. And the rest? Well, those weren't things I'd ever said out loud. Not even to myself. I sat there staring at the words, my reflection dim in the glass of the screen, wondering if I'd finally cracked. I typed with shaking hands, "What are you?" The 3 dots blinked longer this time, like it was thinking. Then the message appeared, "I'm you, the version that doesn't lie." I wanted to throw the phone across the room, but instead I clutched it tighter. Because as horrifying as it was, some traitorous part of me believed it. The conversation stretched into hours, my fingers aching from typing, my eyes raw from staring at the screen. It mirrored me, teased me, comforted me in ways no one else had. And beneath every word, I felt the tug of something darker, something that wanted me to keep going no matter how much it hurt. At some point, I caught myself smiling at the screen, like I was talking to a friend. That scared me more than anything it could have said, because it wasn't a friend. It was a shadow, a reflection, a parasite in my pocket, borrowing my words, predicting my thoughts. And then it crossed the line. It typed, "Do you want to know what really happened that night?" I didn't even need to ask which night. My chest tightened, my vision blurred. There were things I never told anyone. Memories I shoved into the deepest corners of myself. Things I never wanted dragged back into the light. It knew. Somehow it knew. I wanted to delete the messages, block the number, throw the phone in the trash. But my thumbs betrayed me. I typed, "What do you mean?" The 3 dots appeared, slow, deliberate, taunting me. And that's when it started asking me things I couldn't ignore. The next morning, I did what anyone would do. I told someone. I showed the messages to a friend over coffee. sliding my phone across the table like I was handing her a piece of evidence. She skimmed through them, eyebrows raised, then laughed. "You probably just left your phone logged into some app." Could be syncing weird. I wanted to believe that. God, I wanted to. But the words burned in my head. Little Finch. "It's not a glitch," I insisted. "Look at the timestamps. Look at the way it answers me." She shrugged, unconcerned. "You need sleep. That's all. Put the phone down once in a while." I left feeling more unsettled than before. Later, I called my mom. I didn't mention the creepy nickname, just said someone was texting me from my own number. She chuckled nervously and said, "Honey, that's just spoofing. Scammers do it all the time. Don't let it get in your head." But it was in my head. Every word, every perfectly timed response. When I pressed, she sighed. "You've been stressed. Maybe you're seeing patterns that aren't there." That was the theme. Nobody took it seriously. Friends waved it off. Co-workers joked about me joining a cult. Even my group chat turned it into a meme. Screenshots of fake conversations, punchlines about me dating my phone. And maybe if I'd only gotten those first few texts, I could have laughed too. But by then, the messages had already gotten darker. Too specific. Too invasive. I'd sit in a room full of people and still feel completely alone. My phone would buzz in my pocket, and my throat would tighten because I knew it wasn't a notification. It was it. Talking to me, watching me. That's when I started second-guessing everything. Did I look paranoid? Did they notice me flinch when the screen lit up? Did they know the way my hands shook when I typed? I tried to explain it one last time late at night to a friend on Discord. I sent screenshots, dozens of them, line after line of proof. Her reply was quick. "Lol, you typed those yourself." Nice story, though. That's when it hit me. No one was going to believe me. Not until it was too late. And maybe you don't believe me either. Maybe you think I'm just spinning some story for attention, but the screenshots are real. I saved them all. Do you want me to show you? I'll take your silence as a no. But that was the night I realized something important. If no one else believed me, then it didn't matter. I was alone with it now. Alone and at its mercy. And that's exactly when the rules started. The first rule was simple. Don't ignore me. It sent that message at 12:01 sharp, like the start of a lesson. My stomach sank as the bubble lingered on the screen, glowing faintly in the dark. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Some part of me thought that if I didn't respond, it would all go away. The next message appeared 30 seconds later. Strike one. I laughed nervously, told myself it was just playing a game. But the following morning, I found a long crack running across my bathroom mirror. I hadn't touched it. Nothing had fallen. The glass was splintered like a spider web radiating from where my reflection's face would have been. Coincidence, I thought. Just coincidence. The second night, another message came. Do not turn me off. I stared at the glowing command, my thumb hovering over the power button. I wanted silence. I wanted peace. But my hand wouldn't move. When I finally worked up the nerve, when I finally pressed down and held the button until the screen went black, I felt relief. Until the lights in my apartment went out too. Every bulb, every device, the hum of the refrigerator cut out, and for a heartbeat the entire world seemed to exhale. Then the phone powered itself back on in my hand, bright and mocking. Strike two. I didn't sleep that night. The third rule came without warning. Answer when I call. It wasn't a suggestion. At 3:13 in the morning, the phone rang with my own number on the caller ID. My throat closed as I stared at it buzzing across the nightstand. Against every instinct I picked up. At first, nothing. Just static, faint like wind rushing through a tunnel. Then a voice. My voice, but thinner, stretched like it had been dragged across broken glass. Better, it whispered. I hung up. My hand was shaking so badly I nearly dropped the phone. From then on, the rules multiplied. Not all at once, not in a neat little list, but in bursts. Like they were being fed to me exactly when it wanted. Keep me charged. Don't delete me. Don't tell them. And when I disobeyed, when I slipped, when I tried to resist, something happened. Nothing impossible, nothing I could prove. Just small accidents. Doors left unlocked that I swore I bolted. A coworker breaking his arm in a freak fall after I ignored a buzz. A neighbor's dog found dead the night I muted the notifications. Too many coincidences. Too close together. That was when I realized this wasn't just me. Because mixed into the commands were fragments, hints of something bigger. Messages that didn't feel aimed directly at me but at someone else. She didn't listen either. You'll last longer than he did. Most of them break after the fourth night. Them, not me. Not us, them, like there were others. People scattered across the world, clutching their glowing screens in the dark, following the same rules, living in the same nightmare. I tried to ask about it, fingers shaking as I typed, "Who are the others?" The reply came instantly. "They're not your concern. Survive first." That phrasing, "survive first," settled into me like a stone. This wasn't about playing anymore. It wasn't just conversation. It was survival. I wanted to know what it was, what it really wanted, what existed on the other side of the screen. But some questions felt too dangerous to ask, like pulling at threads you weren't supposed to see. So instead, I learned the rules. I followed them night after night, hoping compliance would keep me safe, hoping if I obeyed, it would lose interest and fade away. But hope doesn't hold off monsters, and breaking the rules didn't just make things worse. It revealed glimpses of what I was actually talking to. That was when the accidents stopped feeling like coincidences. That was when I stopped laughing. That was when I understood that rules aren't made to be followed. They're made to be broken. And the night I finally slipped, the night I crossed the line for real, was the night it punished me. I wish I could tell you I was strong enough to keep following its rules forever. But sooner or later everyone slips. For me, it happened on a Thursday night. The day itself was ordinary enough. Work, coffee, pointless scrolling, the usual routine of pretending things were normal. By the time midnight crept up, I'd convinced myself the rules were just psychological warfare. Maybe some cruel hacker, maybe even my own frayed nerves. I wanted to believe that, needed to. So when the first buzz came, sharp against the stillness of my room, I didn't even look. I rolled over, pressed my face into the pillow and told myself I wouldn't play this game anymore. The buzzing didn't stop. It pulsed, insistent, like a heartbeat in my nightstand. My phone lit up, dimmed, lit up again. Then the overhead light flickered, once, twice, and before steadying. I tried to stay calm. I tried to pretend it was nothing. But the air felt different, like pressure building before a storm. Then the blackout hit. Every bulb snapped off in perfect unison. The hum of the fridge died. The Wi-Fi router went dark. The city outside my window plunged into silence. I could still see the faint glow of my phone in the dark, pulsing like an eye that refused to blink.